Hi, it's Lucy and welcome back to my channel. It's officially December, which means it is time for all things Christmas. I am a big fan of cozy mysteries. I like to read them a lot, and I thought it would be fun to try and solve some Christmas ones. So I have a few that I've picked out to read for this video, and I'm going to attempt to solve them. So there will probably be quite a few spoilers in this video, so if you haven't read any of the books that I am trying to solve, just beware. But yeah, I thought it might be a fun challenge for me. So I've chosen 3 Christmas cozy mysteries to read for this video. I'm going to be doing The Mistletoe Murder by Leslie Meyer, which is part of the Lucy Stone Mysteries series, and then Dying in a Winter Wonderland by Vicky Delaney, which is part of the year-round Christmas mystery series. And then also doing A Most Wonderful Time of Year by H.Y. Hannah, which is part of the Oxford Tea Room mystery series. I haven't read any books from any of these 3 series before, so they'll be completely new to me. But yeah, these are the ones I found that I'm gonna try and read and solve, see if I can figure out the killer in each one. I've decided to start with The Mistletoe Murder by Leslie Meyer, which is part of the Lucy Stone mystery series. So Lucy Stone works at a mail order catalogue company, answering phones for catalogue orders, and the owner of the company, Sam Miller, is found dead in his car in the parking lot, and it's thought to be suicide, but obviously it's mistletoe murder, so it's not suicide, it's murder. So I am going to try to solve Sam Miller's murder alongside Lucy Stone, Lucy and Lucy. Yeah. So I am gonna get started. Like I said, there will probably be some spoilers in this, because I am trying to solve it. So I don't think I can make that super spoiler free, but I'll do my best. Yeah, so I'm gonna get started with Mistletoe Murder. So I'm just starting on chapter 6 of Mistletoe Murder. So Lucy Stone, who works a night shift at the catalogue order place. I did not realize how old this book was. It was published in 91, which is older than, well, is older than my sister. Not quite as old as me. But yes, these were the days of like the proper catalogues. I remember flicking through them as a kid. Yeah, you don't really get like that anymore. But yes, this girl is like on commission sales through her catalogue company, and yeah, during a night shift, she goes out to the parking lot and she finds Sam Miller is dead in his car. And yeah, like I said, from the synopsis, it's brief. It's considered or assumed that it's a suicide. It's made to look like a suicide, but there are a few reasons already to believe that it was not. Suspects wise, I already have a couple. So Tom Miller is Sam Miller's brother, and both Tom and Sam were co-owners of this catalogue company. They weren't in. They weren't in. Didn't agree much about how to run the business. Tom wanted to make quite a few changes that Sam was resistant to. So with Sam dead, that would make Tom the full owner of the company, so then he could do whatever he wanted with it now at this point. So so that's so killing Sam would give him full control of the business. So I could see that being, that's a pretty good motive, I think. There's also George Hyam, who is he's a sort of manager in the catalogue company, and honestly, he's not a great guy. He's a chauvinist, awful guy. But he's good friends with Tom Miller, so Sam Miller's brother, and again, with Sam being dead and Tom in full control of the business, George stands to gain some power and be able to have a bit more control. So Lucy asks George if he thinks that there might have been any issues with the company that might have led to, for right now, to Sam's suicide, if there was any issues with it. And George got really defensive about the idea, so it's like it did strike a nerve. So that's a possibility too. So far, those are the only two suspects that I have. But yeah, I'm gonna keep reading and see what happens and see where it all goes. Okay, so I do have another suspect. So it's Officer Culpepper, who is the local town cop, and there's been some rumors that, like, in town, that this Culpepper has been having, or was having, an affair with Sam Miller's wife, Marcia. And affairs, if it's true, they're always a good motive, trying to get the husband out of the way. Lucy also remembered that on the night that she found Sam Miller in the car, she had heard like a crackle of a police radio not too far away, like almost like it was in the parking lot or next to the parking lot or something. Kind of an insignificant detail that she's just remembered hearing. So yes, it's possible that he was there that night. So the question is, like, doing what, right? Like, if this guy was like killed by, in a way that looked like suicide in his vehicle, like either the cop saw something and didn't do anything, or was the one that responsible, right? So that has to be, kind of where we're going with that. Going back to issues with the catalogue company. So the catalogue company has started to lay off a whole bunch of its employees, which does suggest that it was probably having trouble before Sam died. But at the very least, Tom Miller, who is now the sole owner, is able to take more control, and so he is laying off employees, like a big chunk of them, and this is happening like right around Christmas as well. So this is like a couple of weeks before Christmas that this is all happening. Obviously mistletoe murder. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's the winter time, it's right before Christmas, and this company is laying people off just as sales would be picking up, because all the Christmas sales, Christmas shopping is happening at the moment. Yeah, so that is a possibility. So either so I kind of get the feeling reading about Sam Miller, he wasn't the type. He would have been the type to, even if the business was failing, to try and hang on to all of his employees for as long as possible. He was very big on like town community and kind of giving back and wanting to make sure like teachers and town workers were able to had affordable housing and all of that kind of stuff. So he seemed like a really decent kind of a guy, and so he would probably not be super, if the business was struggling, he doesn't strike me as being someone who would want or be willing to even consider laying off people, but Tom obviously has. Yeah, so there's a good chance that Tom, like, I still think that Tom had, he's definitely a suspect, business reasons or for whatever. Okay, so I have one more suspect to add to the list. So Dave Davison, he is the town pastor, and I don't know what it is about him. I can't quite put my finger on it, but he keeps showing up a lot, and sometimes the things he says, and they just seem overly forced or not quite genuine. So I think it's possible. And in that same vein, that same kind of reasoning, I'm gonna rule out Tom Miller, just because he honestly hasn't been in the book a whole lot. Like, he's been talked about and referenced, a lot about him, but other than a few scenes and a little bit of the funeral, he hasn't really been, he's not really like a main character. He hasn't come up a lot. Like, Lucy hasn't met him a whole bunch, so I just feel like it's unlikely to be him. Also, just found other suspects that I think I'm preferring or seem more likely. So yeah, I am gonna say that it's not Tom Miller that is the murderer. I don't think he killed his brother. I'm only about 50 pages from the end now, so I'm gonna make my official prediction. So I'm pretty sure that it is Dave Davison, the pastor, that is the murderer in this book. Since my last update, Culpepper, the cop, he ended up in hospital after a car accident. His car slid off the road, or he hit ice, or and he got really badly hurt. He's in a coma. Dave Davison has like fully inserted himself into this situation. he's at the hospital with the wife, Culpepper's wife, and has been trying to convince her to move on and to like unplug the machines, and that this is what he would want and this is necessary, and fully kind of taking over on like he won't leave her alone with the doctors, which is all very, very suspect, like how someone would act if they don't want this person to potentially wake up. Like, the only thing he hasn't done yet is try to unplug him himself, but I wouldn't put it past him at this point. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, so he's fully inserted himself into the whole situation and is trying to take over Culpepper's medical care, and yeah, definitely doesn't want this person to wake up again, so he must. So I still think that, because there was the crackle of the police radio in the parking lot the night that Sam died, so I do think that Culpepper was probably there or close by, and if Dave Davison killed Sam, he might also have realised that, or remembered that the crackle of the radio, and so assumed that, or thought that Culpepper maybe saw more than he did, or knew more than he did, or and I mean, Culpepper's a cop, so maybe he was investigating it a little bit. Yeah, so maybe that's, I'm thinking that's kind of all that happened. Yeah, so that's like my prediction for how this book is gonna turn out. Okay, so I finished Mistletoe Murder. I did get the killer right. I didn't quite get the motive, or guess the motive, but I'm still gonna consider that a win. I'm not usually good at solving these, even though I like trying. So I'm quite proud of myself that I did get this one. Yeah, it was. I haven't read any of Leslie Meyer's books before, and I really quite like this one. I liked Lucy Stone. She's kind of fun. I liked her personality and just kind of getting it done kind of personality that she's got. Yeah, so I really liked this one, and I'm quite proud of myself that I did in fact solve the mystery. So next I'm going to be reading The Most Wonderful Time of Year by H.Y. Hannah, and this is part of the Oxford Tea Room Mysteries. And again, I haven't read anything by H.Y. Hannah. Definitely haven't read any of the Oxford Tea Room Mysteries, but the Oxford Tea Room Mysteries is this, Gemma Rose. She runs a tea room in Oxford, and yeah, so she's our main character in this one. And this one, the blurb, it kind of sounds like Clue. She goes to a country manor to cater a party, ends up snowed in, and then a body is found in the library, and it's a whodunit, guessing who did it. It's a like a trapped room one. Everyone in the house is stuck there, they're stranded, and so it has to be one person in the house, and so she has to figure out who it is. So I think this one would be really good. I love this type of mystery. I love I can never remember what it's called, like this type, but like when they're on like a boat or a train, and it has to be like this group of people. Yeah, it's one of my favorite kind of mystery tropes. So I'm really have high hopes for this one. Doesn't mean I'll be able to solve it though, so we will see how it goes. So we have Annabelle, who is hosting a huge Christmas party at her country manor, and Gemma is going to cater it. Annabelle has a brother, Edward, or Ned as he's nicknamed, who has been he's been missing for a while. He's been presumed dead for a long time. But he has suddenly shown up for this Christmas party. The prodigal son has returned for Christmas. So the party comes to an end. There's a big blizzard. The roads are snowed in, blocked from the snow, so it's impossible for any of the guests to leave. So Gemma is stuck with all of Annabelle's family. So there's Annabelle, there's Annabelle's husband, the brother that's just returned, the elderly father, and the very young stepmom. And then there's a couple of other guests that also left over from the party that weren't able to leave yet, including these 4 old ladies who are known as the Old Biddies, which I'm already loving. They are chaos, I think, and very funny so far. Kind of the gossips, Golden Girls type. Yeah, so they are quite interesting people. In the very earliest hours of the morning, Gemma goes looking around the house in search of her cat, who has developed a fondness of a little spot in the library. She heads to the library to find the cat and finds Edward, so the long lost brother, dead in the library. Yeah, so it has officially started. We have a murder and a whole house full of suspects. Yeah, so I have some suspects in mind already. So there is Annabelle's cousin Julian, with Edward dead. So this is like a Downton Abbey kind of family. They've got, titles and everything. So inheritance. So with Edward presumed dead, he's been presumed dead for a long time, Julian, the cousin, is the oldest male relative, so he would have been the person to inherit the whole estate after Annabelle's father dies. It goes male to male. But with Edward reappearing, that would mean that Edward is kind of reinstated as the next in line. So some jealousy there, or definitely see an inheritance kind of drama being a decent motive for murder, to murder your cousin, who has just basically stolen your inheritance from under you by randomly appearing on at Christmas. There's also Annabelle's husband, Richard. So Richard, again, he has been working in Annabelle's dad's company. He's quite high up, and with Edward out of the picture, Richard would be the person to inherit the business, or at least to become the next CEO, or kind of that kind of thing. But again, with Edward reappearing, it would be Edward that would just waltz back in and inherit all of it. Richard has already been shown to have quite a temper on him. He and Annabelle were fighting in the library earlier in the evening about the situation. I get the impression that Richard really only married Annabelle for what he could inherit, and yeah, definitely the absence of Annabelle's brother meant that, you know, Richard would stand to get more. But with Edward returning, that would be wiped out. So with Edward dead, like murdered, then that means Rothschild would be kind of back in line to own the business. There's also Annabelle's and Edward's stepmother. She is very young and has obviously only married this old man for his money, and also doesn't seem super thrilled that Edward has reappeared to basically claim all of the inheritance. And I mean, this old guy is still alive, but he's old. He's doesn't have much longer left, I would imagine. So yeah, all of this kind of boils down to who would inherit what if Edward was out of the picture. So that's 3 suspects right there. And then I suppose there was also Annabelle herself, who she has been like the dad's main caregiver. She's the child that has never left, and you know, is responsible for, you know, for a lot of like the day-to-day upkeep and care of her father. However, the father is always much, you know, Edward is obviously the favourite child, and Annabelle is kind of overlooked. So she could also be jealous of Edward. At this point, Gemma has done a lot of kind of the initial questioning. These people are all still stranded in this house. The actual like investigators can't get out there, so no one can come and like check out the body or any of that. So Gemma has been asked to kind of coordinate a little bit of an unofficial investigation. So that's what she's doing. And following all of that, I'm pretty sure that everybody is lying. Which is all kinds of fun. So Annabelle says she was asleep at the time that Edward was murdered. Richard says he went to the bedroom but didn't go to bed because he didn't want to wake Annabelle or something along those lines. Julian is making a big deal about being alone all night in his room, like overly so. Like, I have, like, nobody was there are no witnesses so that I left or that I didn't leave. Like, yes, I'm pretty sure everyone was leaving. Is lying. Richard and the stepmother are having an affair. And everyone seems to be aware of it. Like, Annabelle knows, and the dad knows, and everyone just seems to be rolling with it. But it's not, it's not obviously out there either. So yeah, I still think that Richard, so Annabelle's husband, and Julian, the cousin, are probably the most likely suspects. Just because I think that they both had the most to gain from Edward being out of the picture permanently. So while he was like missing, presumed dead, there was always the chance that he could reappear, but now he's officially dead. And so yeah, Richard and Julian are the people that stood to lose the most while he was alive, and to gain the most after he's dead. So yeah, but I almost don't know if it's almost too obvious. Like it just seems so easy, right? Like, to have solved it in the first however many pages. Like, oh, it's obviously, yeah, jealousy and inheritance jealousy. I've got it. I've done it. So it probably isn't quite that simple. Yeah. All I can say is that, I mean, nobody has a good alibi for where they were. I mean, it was the middle of the night, so everybody was arguably could say that they were sleeping. But I mean, like, the married couple could neither confirm nor deny that each other were in the room. Like Annabelle says she was sleeping, but she was in a room by herself. Like, Richard said he came to the room, but there's no evidence of that. There's no evidence to even say that Annabelle was in her room all night, because the married couple were never together in there together. So, you know, they both could have been out of the room and neither of them would have known. So there are zero alibis in this. So I mean, everyone could have done it. Yeah, I mean, Annabelle seems like a non-obvious choice for a suspect. She's kind of sweet and nice, but I don't know, maybe she could have snapped. And she does seem to be kind of the fall guy for the family, like the person that gets the blame for everything, and everyone just seems mad at her. Like, the father is mad at her, the husband is mad at her. The father is mad at her because she's not Edward, and the husband is mad at her because he really doesn't want to be married to her, but is. Like, they're all stuck. Yeah. So during this investigation, like I said before, we have the four old ladies who are constantly referred to as the old biddies, and they are just so much fun. I think I wouldn't mind a whole book that's just the four old biddies solving little mysteries. Like, that would be pretty awesome, I think. So far, they've made molds of serpents in sand out of syrup, and they have picked a lock to break into Julian, the cousin's college residence, and they are at the center of this investigation, and they are just the most fun. Can you just picture these, like, four old ladies just stood, like, and they're not even super quiet about it, just these four old ladies just like, we're just gonna casually go pick this lock and we're gonna break into this guy's apartment to look around, and just, oh my gosh, like, they are just the most fun, and I am loving them. So yeah, I would quite like a book, just four biddies solving crimes without this Gemma chick. So yes, I would really like that. Currently about 200 pages in, and I still don't have a clear suspect. Gemma is working on a theory that Ned's sister Annabelle could have drugged Edward and suffocated him, which is been determined of how he died. But I don't really know that I'm feeling that. Like, Ned was definitely the golden child, and Gemma is not treated well by her father at all, Annabelle is not treated well by her father at all, despite everything that she's done for him and doing for him. So I could see the tension and the jealousy, but I don't know that it really could have been her. I mean, her alibi for when the murder happened wasn't great. She was sleeping, but like I said, no one can confirm or deny that. Even her husband wasn't in the room. Like, there's no way. That said, it could also, I do still think it could be Richard. Who killed him? I mean, if he only married Annabelle for the money and what he could get out of it, and then, the brother showed up, and took it all away, like, I mean, he'd have married this chick for nothing. So he would miss out. He would lose a lot. So yeah, I'd still think that is possible, right? I don't know. I'll keep reading and find out, I think. Okay, so I finished the book and none of my theories were correct. It was not an inheritance thing at all. This person wasn't even on my radar. Like, the person who did it, I barely even acknowledged they were in the book. They were. Yeah, it was definitely... That was not where I thought it was gonna go. Not what I thought was gonna happen. And yeah, I didn't even know this person was in the book. Like, oh dear. Yeah, I was fully on this, like, had to be a member of the family train, and it was not. So that's kind of cool. Like, I definitely got that one wrong. Wasn't even, I mean, definitely wasn't someone I considered. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. Overall, I did quite enjoy this book. I will probably read more of the Oxford Tea Room mysteries, mostly for the old biddies. I really want more of them. They were my favourite people in this whole book. So yeah, their shenanigans and just the chaos that they brought to the investigation were just, they were brilliant. That was like the best thing ever. So yeah, I will definitely read more of the series purely for old biddies. Which, yeah, so it was a good one. I think I can believe that I was very wrong. I went off way on, like, I had a theory in the beginning, and I went with it, and I just kept looking for everything that matched that theory. So I ignored anyone that wasn't even remotely related to that. Yeah, so yeah, I got that one very, very wrong, but that's okay. Yeah. Finally, for this video, I'm going to be reading Dying in a Winter Wonderland by Vicky Delaney. This is part of the year-round Christmas mystery set in Rudolph, New York, which is a small town that goes quite nuts on Christmas. So this one is about a murder at, well, a wedding venue. Luann's fiance is found murdered at the proposed wedding venue, and Mary Wilkinson has to help solve it. Yeah, so this is like a Christmassy wedding one, which looks kind of cool. Again, I've never read any of this series. I haven't read anything by Vicky Delaney either, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what it's like. And yeah, so this is the next book that I'm going to read in this video, and see if I can try and solve this murder as well. So I'm at chapter 7, and we finally have a murder. So Luann's fiance Jeff is found dead at the Yuletide Inn, which is the planned wedding venue. And there has been a lot of pre-wedding drama leading up to this. So Luann decided to unilaterally decided to move the wedding up from July all the way up to February, which in this instance makes it 7 weeks away. She's also suddenly having doubts and thinking that she might actually still be in love with her old high school boyfriend, who is Mary's brother. So Jeff and Chris have already gotten into an altercation regarding this situation, and then Chris has been and then Chris is the one who has found the body. So Mary's brother, Luann's former love interest, has been found basically stood over Jeff's body. So yeah, and then we have so Luann's father is having financial problems, And then the changes to the wedding have added like a lot of money to the cost of this. So there's that drama as well. And then both Luann's mother and Jeff are not super happy about the changes to the wedding either. The rush timeline has sped everything up, has made it too fast, and has complicated things with the guests and the guest lists and who can go. So no one is happy with the changes that Luann has made, like, at all. So right now, I think the main suspects that I have are Luann's father and then Luann herself. So Luann has been having doubts about actually going through with the wedding, like thinking that she might not actually be that into Jeff after all, and still kind of has feelings for Chris. However, I get the feeling that just full on just cancelling this wedding is not just an easy way out for her. Like, she can't just break up with him at this point. She's very into how things look and how she looks and her image. So calling off the wedding I don't think would be a viable option for her. And also, if the original fiance was out of the way, she could just if Chris was interested, she could just slide him in to be the groom. Because I do definitely get the feeling she's more interested in the wedding itself rather than the actual, who she's marrying. And then, the father, like I said before, he's having financial issues already. It's been talked about quite a few times already in the book, having some issues with his businesses and things. So the changes to the wedding and the fact that it's been sped up have just complicated so much. And then I guess there is also Chris as well, who is also a suspect. I feel like since he was found, basically stood over the body, has at least been the one who found the body, I feel like it's probably too easy for it to be him. He did get in a fight with Jeff already. Jeff being jealous of Chris, and that kind of thing. But I don't know if that necessarily would lead to the murder. I don't know. So far I do have Luann's father, and then Chris as my 3 suspects. So I'm going to keep reading, and I'm going to see where the rest of this goes. And I have a new suspect. There is a second fiance in the mix. Madison Mackenzie has showed up, and she is apparently Jeff's ex-fiance. And so according to this, Jeff broke up with the ex-Madison for Luann, and from what I can tell, Madison is still was very convinced that she would be able to win Jeff back, and that they would get back together, and that he should be marrying her instead. And she was in the hotel, in the inn, when Luann's fiance Jeff was found murdered. So she'd been around then, so she was in the venue at the time. She admitted that she had come to Rudolph to try to win Jeff back. She had decided that Christmas was a good time to get him back, had figured out that he had gone with Luann to Rudolph to meet or to spend time with Luann's family, and had decided then to follow Jeff to Rudolph. Yeah, so it's like, so we officially have a new, I have officially have a new suspect. You know, and this, so Madison, seems to know a few things about where Jeff was at the time when he died. She was asking, the way she comes across is very much, she is very much blames Luann, for everything that's happened, from the breakup all the way up to the murder. She's basically said that Luann is responsible for the murder, which I suppose is possible, but I am now leaning towards Madison as being a prime candidate. Now, the thing with Luann is, like, her alibi, I guess, for at the time of the murder, was that she was watching some kids sledding on a hill, but like across from the hotel. So she was in kind of in the area too, but also so was this Madison chick. So yes, that's kind of exciting, interesting. So right now I still have the 4 suspects now. So Chris, who is Luann's ex and Mary's brother, and he was the one that found the body, was stood over it, but he admitted to trying to talk to Jeff, or planning to meet Jeff, talk to him to find out if he truly did want to marry Luann, if he was making the right choices, because of what had happened, like the altercation, I think it was the night prior, and so Chris had met up, or was planning to meet up with Jeff. Madison had planned to meet up with Jeff to try to win him back, and Luann was in the venue, heading towards the venue to meet the caterer, to sort out wedding stuff, but she was also nearby, so all 3 of them were in the area, in the building when the murder took place. So all 3 of them are good options for suspects. I'm not sure who I'm leaning towards yet. I do think this Madison chick is a promising lead. Some of the way she's talked about it, like she's very much, he's my Jeff, and blamed Jeff's mother for them breaking up in the first place. They said the woman was very controlling, but that she decided to like make peace with that and accept that Jeff's mother was this way, if it meant getting back with Jeff. Probably, I suspect the fact that it came up that the wedding had been moved up so quickly, because it was originally planned for July, and so now it was had been moved up to February. I suspect that probably sped up Madison's timeline, because like had to act fast to get Jeff back. Like it wasn't much longer to wait, right? If she really did want to get him back. So it's possible that either Madison maybe fought with Jeff and killed him, like out of jealousy, or she did it to try and maybe frame Luann. It's possible that Luann felt threatened by Madison showing up if she knew that Madison had shown up and gone to confront Jeff. Maybe Luann saw Jeff and Madison talking and was worried, or felt threatened, or yeah. So maybe that's something that happened, or yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I just reached chapter 14, and yeah, so I'm gonna keep reading and see where it goes from here. So there was just a huge fight between Luann and Madison, the two fiancés. Very violent, very fun. I've got to say, after that, I'm pretty much leaning towards Madison as being the most likely of the fiancés. She is very hateful towards Luann, completely blames her for everything, for basically stealing her fiance and everything. But from what I can tell, Jeff and Madison had been broken up for a while before he went out with Luann. Yeah, I just don't know. There isn't too much of an update right now, just the fight was pretty good. It was pretty violent and in a Christmas shop, so lots of violent and plate smashing and things. So yeah, I am leaning more towards Madison, I think, as my main suspect. There was also mention of Jeff's business competitors. So Jeff's family has a building development company, and they were planning to do make a huge investment in not Rudolph, in a different town, and it's been mentioned a few times that the business, their opposition, would gain a lot if Jeff died, because Jeff was pretty much running the company, it's all under Jeff's father, Louis, but he wasn't doing a very good job. But Jeff had really stepped up and like kind of was taking control of the company. So the kind of the opposition would really benefit from Jeff's death. Also, yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at so far. I'm about 100 pages from the end. So, yeah, not too far to go. So I will probably have some more thoughts in a little bit. Okay, so I have some more updates and more thoughts. So Madison and Luann both gave, well, their alibis. So Madison was found, was caught speeding, and has a speeding ticket for, roughly the time around, when Jeff was killed. So it's looking unlikely that she could have made it to the inn in time to have killed him prior to him being, not enough time between. And then, but Luann, she'd been saying she'd been watching kids sledding, but no one saw her. So it's looking like her alibi, which wasn't really an alibi, definitely isn't holding up. So could be Luann. If Madison had spoken to Jeff before he got to the inn, and then he went to go talk to Luann. Luann definitely had the time and opportunity to kill Jeff. Like the timeline does fit. Yeah. I don't know. I still think it is Madison, but her alibi just, it does kind of check out. So yeah, because 2:07 Madison was stopped by the police, and then at 2:21 she was told she could leave, and Jeff was found at 2:30, so she couldn't have made it, and it wasn't looking like he'd died prior, too much earlier than that. I guess it still is possible if she'd have killed him and then was speeding off. But it was found on the opposite side of town from the Yuletide Inn, so yeah, I might have to rule her out. But Luann, however, her alibi definitely does not check out. No one saw her. And it kind of was a vague one, like just stood somewhere watching people, but I don't know, like if I'm, at the lake or something, I'm not usually paying a super amount of attention to the other people that are there. So yeah, maybe Luann is responsible. So I finished Dying in a Winter Wonderland, and oh boy, I get it very, very wrong. So it wasn't either of the fiancés, which is where I was headed. It was someone, again, that wasn't even on my radar at all in this book as being a potential suspect. Yeah, it was somebody who had a crush on Luann and wanted to get the fiancé out of the way. That, kind of disappointed that I didn't get it. Yeah. Oh, I thought I had it. With being Luann. But yeah, apparently not even someone I thought about. Like, I don't know. I think I just glossed over all of like the extra characters in the book of being like unimportant, and yeah, so that's kind of crazy. Yeah, I liked this one. I liked the writing style and like the story that came with it. I liked the plot. Yeah, the killer definitely threw me off. Like, definitely, I never would have even considered him as being the killer. So yeah, ultimately I didn't do great with these books. I think I solved one of them, and that's it. So 1 out of 3. So yeah, I did not successfully solve any of all of these cozy mysteries, but that's okay. It was still good books. I had fun reading them. But yeah, I did enjoy this one. And again, I think I'll read. I would like to read some more of the year-round Christmas mystery series. To see what those are like. Yeah, they did have a lot of Christmassy vibes, which is nice. It's a town that is very dedicated to Christmas. Like Mary has a Christmas shop that is open all year round, and but the town just goes really all out for Christmas. So yeah, that is Dying in a Winter Wonderland. I hope you had fun watching this video, watching me make horribly wrong predictions about all 3 of these books, and yeah, my detective skills are not great, clearly. Yeah, I think I'll probably try and do another one of these, like, solving cozies. Maybe I'll try and do like a Valentine's one or something. Yeah, so yeah, thank you for watching, and if you liked it, please subscribe and check out some of my other videos. Bye!